couple of other things I want to get to here. Matt Canavan, former Cabinet Minister, should be back in that Cabinet, but that's for another day. He is rather concerned about, and the Prime Minister is making some action on this, as is Peter Dutton, the Homeland Affairs Minister, or the Home Affairs Minister, I should say, which is they're worried about the number of people who are scooping things up in Australia and sending them overseas. Now, we're not talking about somebody who's trying to send, a box of basil or something like that. We're talking about people who are buying pharmaceuticals, they are buying medical supplies, and they are trying to send them to other parts of the world. Well, that is, effective now, illegal. Matt Canavan has an explanation about that, and we also talk about food security as well.
I think there's a couple of concerns. First of all, Paul, it's just basic unethical behaviour that should not be happening, and we need to clamp down on it. But perhaps a broader concern for the law and for government is that there's some evidence this is occurring through criminal gangs, organised in a fashion to do this, to try and circumvent the restrictions and rations that have been put in place by supermarkets to keep stuff available for people. And so I know that I've spoken to Peter Dutton. He's taking action to make sure we clamp down on criminal activity. We also, of course, have powers to make sure some of these products are not exported, and that's more to do not so much with food stuffs, but with medical equipment and important medicines. Those things are being activated as well. It's very important that we secure our country and make sure we have enough to go around for all of us, because we are a land of plenty. There is plenty to go around. We just have to respect each other and work together to get through this moment.
Is it true that people are packaging up medicines and are sending them to, among other places, the Middle East and China?
Well, I've only heard reports of it. I'd be surprised if it's not happening, at least on a small scale. But what most concerns me is the idea it's being done in organised and potentially large-scale ways. So that's why the government's on the case and making sure we can stop this.
So what has been empowered in the past couple of days is basically more border checks to be able to, in the same way that we scan things coming into the country, being able to scan things coming out of the country. Do we have enough resources to actually keep an eye on the types of packages that are going to these places, or is it about the people who are sending the packages?
Well, I'm confident we do have enough processes in place. We particularly have the powers to do it, and what I know the government's looking at is making sure that we activate the powers under the Export Control Act to ensure we keep things that are essential for Australians here in Australia, and we're doing it as we speak.
Now, how do you feel about the Monday morning quarterbacking, the sniping from the sidelines? Look, I've tried to avoid going team red, team blue, but I've had to call him out tonight. Anthony Albanese talks a good game about being bipartisan, but every day, almost every time he's opening his mouth, there's some sort of a chip that's coming. Is this relevance deprivation syndrome from the person who wants to be co-Prime Minister?
Well, look, I concur with your point up front, Paul. We all can make our own judgments on these issues, but these are very, very difficult judgment calls that the Prime Minister and Premiers and other leaders have to make. I think overall, governments of all political persuasions have acted admirably through these last couple of weeks in the best way they can. And I say that about governments that are of the other side, the Labor state governments. They have, I think, stood up and acted in unison with other governments to coordinate a response here to protect Australians as best we can. Yeah, but of course, I think what I'm seeing more regularly at the moment is Anthony Albanese sending out proxies to attack the government and do so in a way where he can try and keep his hands clean, so to speak. But he's had Chris Bowen out there a few days. I think Christina Keneally was out there today in a pretty clumsy way. And look, really, I don't think this is the time for that kind of old partisan politics. We are all Australians right here. We have probably the most serious health crisis we've faced in this country for 100 years. We are going to see this through better the more we work together in a constructive fashion. Now, that doesn't mean people can't be critical of the government from time to time, but what you saw from Christina today, for example, with these old, tired lines, that just sound like they're made up for the nightly news, not to try and constructively do something or make a point that's going to help Australians keep safe and save lives.